Hi there, following on from my last video, it got me thinking about some other practical steps that you can take to prepare yourself for the upcoming economic crisis that's bound to result from the current health crisis. So in the last video I talked about understanding your property portfolio, understanding your numbers. So what is your likely exposure if all of your tenants were to stop paying the rent all in the same month? Now hopefully that's highly unlikely, but you need to understand the worst case scenario. Now once you've done that, I also talked about checking your insurance policies if you have rent protection insurance. You might also want to think about checking which properties or tenancies you have guarantors on as well, and just getting information together. I'm not suggesting doing anything at this stage. This is more an information gathering stage so that you're quite clear on your current position. I think the next practical thing you can do is then extend that financial review to your own personal finances. So are you in an industry impacted by what's going on at the moment? Either you're at risk of being sent home unpaid, or alternatively, you're actually going to be really busy. So are you a key worker or working in logistics and distribution or the food industry, for example, in which case you might actually become super busy. So understanding your current financial situation as well. So look at your mortgage on your own home. There might be some mortgage relief there as well that you might be able to apply for depending on your situation. Also look at your personal finances. It looks like we're all going to be confined to home sometime soon, so discretionary expenditure should go down quite considerably. So the amount you spend on fuel or meals out or socialising is going to be reduced. So this will help constrain your own personal costs. You might want to have a look across your portfolio as well and say, do you have any minor non-urgent maintenance planned that you could potentially suspend for a few months? Although do bear in mind that this will then have a knock-on impact on your suppliers and your contractors and trades as well. So if you are in a fortunate financial position where you could ride out this storm, you might want to try and continue business as usual for as long as possible. There are some of the bigger global companies that have got lots of financial resources that are offering services for free or reduced cost to help support people in this difficult time. So it really is down to you individually and understanding your own personal financial situation, whether you're in that position to be able to help others at this difficult time. In terms of dealing with tenants, what practical advice can I give you here as well? Well, at the moment, the information from the government is very sparse. They've already talked about offering tenants impacted, either sent home unpaid or actually off work sick and ill with this virus, some sort of rent holiday. They're also looking at bringing in emergency legislation to suspend Section 21 and Section 8 notices. So for the duration of this crisis, you will not be able to evict tenants at all for any reason. So that does potentially put a lot of stress on the private rented sector and those property investors who perhaps are not in an overly strong financial position themselves. We already have our first tenant that has been sent home from work and been asked to self-isolate as he has a cough. It doesn't look as though he's infected at this stage. However, that is an immediate impact on our business. We've also today had another 2 tenants who have been sent home from work unpaid, and they work in the leisure industry in restaurants, and their employers are closing down indefinitely at this stage. As a property management agency, we are taking every day, day by day, and we want to be as sympathetic and helpful to tenants in such a difficult situation, while also being minded of our clients' position who own these properties as well. So in terms of practical things that we're doing at the moment, the tenants that are contacting us, we're checking their health, particularly those who live in HMOs, so it's going to be more difficult to self-isolate in a HMO, so we're making sure that everybody remains as healthy as they possibly can. but also then directing them to the government guidance that has been offered already. So for those people that are impacted by this, can they claim benefits much more quickly to be able to help them cover their bills, including the rent? But also, I don't know if you've seen in the news recently, but Amazon, which is a big employer where we are actually asking people to work overtime because of the massive upsurge in demand of online ordering. Morrisons has also announced a recruitment drive to recruit 3,000 people because of the demand on supermarkets. So there is work out there, and if you've got a good relationship with your tenant, it's really good to stay in touch with them and keep communicating with them and offer them as much support as possible, which might even be directing them to alternative employment in this difficult time. So I hope this is, again, some practical steps that you can take. We just need to keep an eye on the news, and we will be reflecting any further government announcements that impact the private rented sector.